The International Criminal Court has disqualified prosecutor Karim Khan for handling the case against former President Rodrigo Duterte over a possible conflict of interest. ICC appeals judges granted the Duterte defense's request, citing Khan's previous role representing the Philippine Human Rights Commission in communications that named Duterte as a suspect in the drug war killings. Khan, who already stepped aside in May amid a UN probe into alleged sexual misconduct, has been barred from taking part in what remains the ICC's only major active case. The case is now being led by Deputy Prosecutor Mame Mandiay-Niang, and Duterte, who was arrested in March, faces charges linked to thousands of killings during his administration's anti-drug campaign, but continues to assert his detention was unlawful.
Now let's talk more about that development.
We have ICC Assistant to Counsel, Attorney Cristina Conti, joining us now via Zoom. Good morning, Attorney. Thanks for joining us again.
Good morning.
All right. Of course, your reaction to this disqualification of Khan in the Duterte's case?
In a sense, ambivalent. Parang okay lang na oo, okay lang din na hindi.
Right.
Pero of course, one, it has very little effect on the status of the case. Kung sa biktima nga, ang tanong ay, una, babalik ba ng Pilipinas si Duterte or matutuloy ba ang kaso? Yan yung dalawang main question eh.
Right.
It does not go into either.
Attorney, nawawala po kayo?
Hello?
Hello?
Is this okay?
Yan. There
Okay.
you go. Go ahead.
The
Let's try that
disqualification
again.
the disqualification has minimal impact
Right.
on the prosecution of the case because since May, Karim Khan has been on leave. There is an investigation ongoing as regards his alleged sexual misconduct, and he has turned over the prosecution of the case to Mandiay-Niang.
Yeah.
So he has no role, and he has said in submissions that he will not take on any roles until all this is cleared up.
Right. So this won't delay or weaken in any case in the case of Duterte.
In a sense, yes, because it does not directly impact the timeline. When I say directly impact, it's because, of course, the judges, if they're confronted with so many requests or so many issues, alin ang uunahin nila? But, well, this issue is now before the appeals chamber. So, wala na sa utak nung pre-trial chamber, which is now tackling the issue of fitness to stand trial. So, at least medyo maisasantabi mo na. Also, as regards the trial itself, definitely everything will be based on evidence. Wala naman in a sense na kay Karim Khan, hindi depende kay Karim Khan yung ebidensya. May posible lang na sabihin na, naging bahagi siya nung part ng pag-weigh ng ebidensya. Pero to be clear, he has disclosed this since April this year, even before the warrant of arrest was issued, and he has recused himself from several activities of the office of the prosecutor. So he has taken steps to ensure that there will be no contamination or tainting of the evidence if that would be the argument.
Yeah.
Attorney, a lot of questions have been circulating online and also in discussion forums about the fear of many na kung aabot pa ba ito nga sa trial. Ang isang issue is because nakikita ng iba yung tactics daw ng defense is laging when you ask them about yung reaction to the case of the former President Duterte, it's always saying that his detention is unlawful. Parang hindi daw nakasentro ang depensa sa innocence but rather sa jurisdiction ng ICC, and parang they're hell-bent daw on preventing it from going to trial.
Technicality always.
That's precisely what we also see. Talagang ganon no? Kasi moving forward, kung mag-trial, ano ang depensa? Nasasabihin ni Duterte, and actually we already have a glimpse into his defense. Tinatanong kasi yan, will you avail of the parang grounds excluding criminal responsibility under Article 31? Will you claim alibi? Will you claim mental incapacity? Will you claim self-defense? Will you claim you are under duress? None.
Yes, that's
So
right.
on the merits, mukhang, kumbaga, haharapin nila to na, well, hindi ganon ang intensyon. Pero you have a lot of documents, a lot of videos of the accused himself saying, or suspect pala ngayon, saying, ako gumawa niyan, ang kasalanan ko lang ay EJK. So for many, they think it is indefensible. Okay? Which is why it seems as if the game plan is not to go to trial entirely. And there's 2 points now. One, jurisdiction. Wala namang capacity yung korte na pagpasyahan yan. And 2, hindi siya okay, or the suspect himself is not fit to stand trial. So, two-pronged yung approach nila as regards this. Inuuna nila ngayon yung fitness to stand trial. I-forward ko na rin yung sa argument. Kasi baka si Bato de la Rosa nakikinig.
Right.
Or yung ibang akusado.
We talked about it the other day. Yesterday, diba? Oo. Go ahead.
Yeah, so if we were to talk about fitness to stand trial, it's only personal to Duterte. Siya mismo, hindi niya kaya na matuloy yung trial. Sa ICC kasi bawal lang in absentia. Or bawal absent in person or absent in spirit. Parang ganon. Dapat okay ka, naintindihan mo kung anong nangyayari. It's personal and therefore cannot apply to other accused. But if the court has no jurisdiction, the impact will be wide-ranging. Ibig sabihin, kahit na sino na masangkot dun sa issue o masama pa, madagdagan ng kaso, ay hindi dapat matry sa korteng ito.
It's a good point, Oo, it's a good point. Kasi, di ba, baka kasi sinasabi nila, sige, hindi ka maka-stand sa trial, pero ongoing pa rin yung investigation. Not necessarily mean na tapos na to. Di ba? Oo. Pero, Attorney, what do you have to say also doon sa, of course, right now, there's a recent survey done by the social weather stations. Ang sabi dito, they want former President Rodrigo Duterte held accountable for deaths linked to the drug war during his administration. This is the kind of survey na during his administration, Duterte administration, hindi mo makikita yan. Hindi mo maririnig na may mga ganitong klaseng survey. So what do you have to say to that na right now, people are actually voicing out also their opinion regarding this case?
Well, I think it's consistent with what we feel on the ground. In fact, mas mataas pa nga ang tingin namin. Kasi kahit yung mga, sabihin na natin, supporters, yung ilang supporters niya, sinasabi na kailangan naman niyang harapin yan para, of course, iba yung objective nila, para masabi na wala talaga siyang kasalanan.
Yes,
So, may ganong sentimiento kasi ito ang sobrang laki at sobrang impossible to ignore. Hindi yung tipong, wala talagang nangyaring patayan. I have seen a few, parang mass murder deniers. Na, hindi, wala namang namatay. Konti lang yung namatay. Pero, if you lived in the Philippines, nasaan ka? Nasa ilalim ba ng bato? It's impossible to ignore the killings and how they happened. So, for others, for many, I guess, talagang kailangang harapin sa korte. Hindi naman sinabi dun sa survey na kailangan bang guilty siya o siya ang may kasalanan Kaya I would say it's fair enough. But I would have to raise this, that there was actually a survey during the time of Duterte that talked about extrajudicial killings. Sensitibo, ang sinasabi yata nun, how comfortable are you or natatakot ka ba na magkaroon ng extrajudicial killings? And similarly, by a bit of majority, parang between 50 to 60%, ganun. Sabi din nila, takot kami na na maging biktima ng extrajudicial killings sa konteksto ng war on drugs. So, nandun yung parang pansarili na safe ba ako dito? And I would guess may konting punto din dito. Kung gusto mong managot ang isang tao sa extrajudicial killings, it's supposed to be a deterrent o pagpigil ng future crimes. Kasi kung mananagot yung ulo or mananagot yung mga may gawa, dapat protection yon na hindi na ulit mauulit ito.
Attorney, with regards to yung trial proper, kasi inabangan ng marami yan, Is it true na hindi pwede ito magsimula until the warrants also for the other principal accused are also served, like sila Senator Bongo and Senator Bato de la Rosa have to be also within the custody of the ICC?
No. So there's a bit of difference in the ICC kasi pag sa Pilipinas, tapos na ang investigasyon, saka palang lalarga yung kaso, tama?
Yes.
Sa ICC, tama, tuloy-tuloy yung investigation. Sabi kanina ni Angela na there is a pending case but there's also an investigation. Until the investigation is closed, the ICC can still, kumbaga, continue to mount cases
Okay.
against people that they determine as most responsible. And with that, medyo iba din na kapag na-open pa lang yung case, doon pa may pagkakataon na pag-usapan anong charges.
Okay, okay.
Sa atin kasi medyo pinal na kung anong charges. Kaya 'di ba parang kailangan pulido yung investigasyon kasi pagpunta mo ng korte, touch move.
Yes,
Oo,
yes.
action na.
Napatalo
Parang
ka o
ganun.
hindi. Dito sa ICC, dahil 'di ba walang PI, parang di natin narinig na mag-counter affidavit si Duterte, 'di ba?
Yeah, oh.
It's because only at the confirmation of charges will we have the accused or the suspect for the first time contest the charges.
Okay,
So,
okay.
may pagkakataon pang ganon. Kaya, pwedeng lumarga yung kaso ni Duterte separately, pero pwede ding in the middle, magkaroon ng warrants of arrest issued against other accused at lumarga din yon separately. At ang sabi nga nila, in an investigation, up to, parang on the average or at the most, I have to check, up to 6 other co-perpetrators are charged in a particular situation or in a particular happening. Ang
So
tawag kasi
separate,
dito
so
sa
separate
investigation,
cases.
Yeah, oo.
separate cases, 6
Okay.
individuals
Okay.
charged, and it's not necessary that they are all together in one case.
Okay.
Ayun. Yun ang abangan
Malinaw,
natin.
at least malinaw
And then
yan.
we have a lot of questions pa, pero unfortunately we don't have much time. But hopefully we can still invite you. For the meantime, maraming salamat po for your insights. ICC Assistant to Counsel, Attorney Christina Conti.
Salamat, ingat.